5.3. Solve multi-step inequalities. How to solve a multi-step inequality. The steps for solving two-step and multi-step equations can be applied to linear inequalities. Remember to reverse the inequality symbol when multiplying or dividing by a negative number. Part A, solve the inequality and graph your solution if needed. So for the first one, we can combine like terms for the left-hand side of the inequality. That's negative 5p greater than negative 10. And then we're dividing by a negative number. We need to switch or reverse the inequality sign. So p will be less than 2. Since it's a less than sign, we need an open circle, and we need to point the arrow to the left. For this one, we need to combine 5k and positive 4k, which makes 9k, and we can divide both sides by a positive number. Can rewrite this as k less than or equal to 2. They mean the same thing. And when we graph this, close circle, because it's a less than or equal sign, and need to point the arrow to the left. Okay, for this problem, it's slightly more complicated. We have a fraction, a negative fraction here, so we need to distribute into the sum of 36n plus 21 over 2. So negative 2/3 times 36n gives you negative 24n. So 6 minus 24n. So let me show you again. 3, this will be 12. And 2 times 12 makes negative 24n. And then we need to multiply negative 2/3 by positive 21 over 2. So that is also a negative. 2 cancels out, and 21 divided by negative 1/3 is negative 7. And we can copy the right-hand side of the inequality, and we can further solve this inequality. So we have the next step, negative 24n minus 1. We have negative 24n 123 on the other side, and then n, since you're dividing by a negative number, you need to reverse the inequality sign. 123 over negative 24. So to write this further, let me put it here. Negative 5 and 1/8, because after I simplify this, it's 8 negative 41. Then when we graph this, we can just estimate the point to be around here, negative 5 and 1/8. Okay, and let's look at this problem. We can first divide it by -6. Okay, and if we do that, we need to reverse the inequality sign. So -138 divided by -6 is 23, and then -6 divided by -6, we cancel that out, and we can just copy 6b minus 7, and then we can add 7 to both sides, and this would give me 30. And then I divide by 6 to both sides of the inequality to get 5 less than or equal to b, or we can rewrite this as b greater than or equal to 5. And now we can graph this. So 5 is here, closed circle, and point the arrow to the right. It's closed circle because it's a greater than or equal sign. Okay, let's do another practice. Combine like terms. -8x plus 2x makes -6x. Recopy -16 less than -5x plus 7x makes +2x. Okay, now you've noticed that there are a variable on either side of the inequality. So I am going to have to collect like terms again, and I would like to add 6x to both sides because I don't want to deal with the negative coefficient. 8x, and then once we divide by 8, okay, this would be -2. So your answer is x greater than -2 or -2 less than x. Either one is fine. Okay, so open circle and point the arrow to the right. Okay, and for this one, let's first simplify the right-hand side. You need to distribute the 0.7 into x minus 2. 0.7 times -2 gives you -1.4. Now I'm going to combine like terms. Okay, and that's going to give me -0.3x minus 1.4. And now I am going to collect like terms onto one side of the inequality by adding 0.3x. We cancel this out. -1 plus 0.3 gives me -0.7x. Since we have a negative here, we need to remember to switch the inequality sign. So the next step would be -1.4 divided by -0.7. So this would be x greater than 2. And now we're going to graph this. Okay, this open circle to the right. Okay, let's look at a special case where there's no solution. Okay, let's first simplify the left-hand side of this inequality. -6 times 1 is -6. -6 times +7k is -42k. Plus 7 times 1 is 7. +7 times 6k is 42k. Less than or equal to -2. Let's combine like terms. Okay, seems like I could first cancel this out. Negative 6 plus 7 gives me positive 1. And this is apparently not true. So we will write no solution as your answer. Okay, now let's look at a case where the solution is all real numbers. Okay, simplify, simplify. Negative 2 times 2, negative 4. Negative 2 times negative 2x, positive 4x. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. Negative 4 times positive 5 is negative 20. Less than or equal to negative 24. Okay, so I can cancel out positive 4x and negative 4x. Negative 4 minus 20 is negative 24. So in this case, all real numbers. And to graph this, you can just do everything on a number line or don't graph, it's okay. Okay, let's take a look at this problem. For what value of A are all the solutions of negative 10p greater than 6p plus A less than negative 1? Okay, so here I'm going to recopy this problem here, 6p plus A. I'm going to solve for p to see what I get. So let's subtract 6p, and that would give me negative 16p greater than A. And then I'm going to divide by negative 16, so I need to switch the inequality sign. So that would give me negative A over 16. So now I need to think about what A value could I get so that this side of the inequality will be negative 1. And of course, 16. Therefore, if I plug in 16 in for A, it will be P less than negative 1, which satisfies this condition. So my answer would be A equal to 16. Write and solve an inequality to find the possible values of x. So here it tells you that the area is greater than 81 square feet. I'm going to take x plus 2 and I'm going to multiply that by 9 because the area of a square is just simply s squared. And then I'm going to let that be greater than 81 because it's given. Okay, now I can solve this inequality. So this will be my answer. Translate the inequality into a verbal phrase. So how would I write this? 2 would be twice, and here's a sum, so twice the sum of x and 8 is greater than or equal to negative 36. Word problems. A rafting guide plans to take 6 adults on a rafting trip. The raft can hold up to 1,520 pounds, so this is the maximum. So I'm going to assume that I need to use the less than or equal sign. The guide weighs 180 pounds and estimates that each adult will bring 10 pounds of baggage. Write and solve an inequality to find the possible average weights of an adult such that the raft will not exceed its maximum weight capacity. So I need to first set up my inequality. On the left-hand side of this inequality, I need to include the weight of the guide, 180 pounds. Okay, and then there are 6 adults, so they're each gonna bring 10 pounds of baggage. So bag 6 times 10, and I don't know how many or how much each weighs, and that's what we're solving for. The average weight, right, 6x. So I'm gonna have to let x equal to the average weight per adult. Okay, so this is step 1. Step 2, and I'm going to have to solve the inequality. So this will be 6x minus 240 on this side, and that will be 1280, and I'm going to divide by 6 to get 2, 1, 3, and 1/3. So your answer should be at most 213 and 1/3 pounds. Your scores in 4 bowling league tournaments are 157, 161, 149, and 172. After the next game, you want your average score to be at least 167. So the inequality sign that represents at least is greater than or equal. What are the possible scores that you can earn in your next tournament in order to meet your goal? So let x equal to possible scores. So I'm going to first add 157 plus 161 plus 149 plus 172, and I'm going to add x. And I'm going to have to divide that by 5 since I have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Because average means to add all the possible scores up and divide by how many scores there are. Okay, now we can solve. The sum of these 4 scores is 639. And then I can take 639 plus x, set that equal to greater than or equal to 167 times 5. Okay, and I'll just copy this. 167 times 5 gives me 835. I'm going to subtract 639 to both sides. And this gives me 196, so my final answer is at least 196 for the next score. So here I have 4 steps. 1, define your variable. 2, inequality. 3, all your work. 4, answer.